Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bobby Waldron, and in this video we're going to be having a product review of some new metallizer paints called Xtreme Metal by AK Interactive. Now these metallizer paints are new, they are different. Now when it comes to natural metal finishes, it is quite a bit of a tricky sort of product to deal with. For example, I've just got a couple of different manufacturers here. We've got Alclad's 2. Now this is a natural metal finish paint that I do like and I do use. It is lacquer based, so they are, shall we say, extremely potent, very smelly, not good for your health. They evaporate really fast, and there is a few problems with it. Some problems being when we sort of mask it up, it does sort of pull the pigments off, and it can rip up the paint as well. You have to have your air pressure really low. Other things like you can't flood the area because it kind of makes it go a bit funny. You've got to be really light with your coat, so it's not a forgiving paint, so to speak. You need to be a bit more intermediate and advanced to sort of use our Alclad's 2 paints here. Another set of paints that I do really like using is our Mr. Metal colour range, which is really cool. You can buff these paints up, but again, they are like a lacquer based type paint. They're kind of similar-ish to Alclad's in the sense that you gotta spray down quite lightly and everything. They are a bit more durable than Alclad's 2 paints, and they can be kind of quite expensive as well. Plus you've got to go off to they are in sort of like China and stuff, so they can be a little bit hard to get hold of. You do only get, I do believe this is a 10mm pot as well, so you don't get a lot for your money, but they are cool and well recommended as well. We've then had a new release, that are metal colour paints here by Vallejo. Now these are acrylic based. Now when it comes to acrylics and natural metal finishes, they're not very good, right? A lot of paints out there, they kind of look silver rather than natural metal finish, but these paints by Vallejo have sort of broken that barrier, and they do look like a nice natural metal finish. And it is sort of like depends upon your personal preference, when it comes to sort of like what type of paint you use. As I say, these are acrylic, so they're not very potent. I mean, they're not going to be good for your health, but they sure as hell are a lot better for your health than using these lacquer based paints from Alclad's. I do like them, but what we have here is what we're here to review is the Xtreme Metal. Now what's the difference between these? Well, first off, they are enamel based, right? They're not lacquer based or acrylic based. They are enamel based, which does kind of sort of change the ball game a bit, in the sense of I do like these. They are sort of like quite a forgiving paint, very durable. They've got that nice natural metal finish, and although they are more potent than acrylic based paints, they're not as potent as our Alclad lacquer based paints here. So they're still smelly, but they're not as smelly as using our Alclad's 2 paints. So let's have a quick look at the range. I've just got a little sheet here. If you want to sort of pause the pause this video now, you can have a look at the range of colours they've got just there, which is a really good range of colours for natural metal finishes. They really have seemed to have covered all the bases. Now they also do a extreme cleaner as well, which I've found you can use it as a thinner as well, so just to keep that in mind, a good product to get as well. So let's put this on test now, and what we're going to do, I've got two models here. I have our F15 here that I've been doing a step-by-step video build of, and I'm just taking this to do a nice bit of natural metal finish just at the back here of our engine section, just to show it to you in sort of like a practical sense. And then we've also got I've got my F14 kind of demo piece here, which is where we're going to spray it on, and we're just going to put it through its paces to see what it can handle and all sorts of things. So starting off, right, let's get out our first colour. What I'm going to be using personally is where's it gone? I'm going to be using steel. Now you want to give it a good shake, because just to show you an example, actually, you can sort of see on the bottom where all the pigments have sort of floated to the bottom. You really want to give them a good shake until you see on the bottom all the pigments have sort of been nicely released and mixed up. Right, so keep checking that bottom, that looks good now. Now I'm going to be using Harder & Sternbeck's Evolution CR Plus for this. You want to have your air pressure down to about between 15 and 10 psi ish. Basically, when it comes to this, if the paint's coming out spluttering a bit, just up the pressure just a little bit until it's just coming out nice and smoothly. So let's open this up now. Smelling it, I mean, don't go around smelling them, but it really isn't as potent as Alclad's 2. You can sort of smell the difference a lot. Right, I'm just going to pour a bit in here, which, just like Alclad's 2, it is quite thin, so it does sort of dribble down the side of the cup. So have a kitchen paper towel on standby. And what we're going to do is, first off, let's bring in our model here of our F15. I'm just going to kitchen paper towel, just check, see how it's coming out the airbrush. I'm quite happy with that. And what we want to do is we want to just start off with nice light coats. Now also the key as well to this paint, and pretty much all paints really, you've got to prime it, okay? There's no point coming along with any paint at all and spraying it onto bare plastic, right? You're going to have all sorts of problems if you do that. Prime anything and everything, and with this type of paint especially, you spray this onto bare plastic and it's just going to pull up if you do any kind of masking. So I'm just lightly going across this and spraying on our first quick light coat, right? Now, as you can see, that's already given us some good coverage. I'm just going to cut to where and sort of dry this off. Right, it does dry rather quickly, which is one of the good things about this enamel type paint. It does dry quite quickly. And again, I'm just coming in with another light coat all over. There we go, make sure you get into all the areas, all the different angles. Right. So there is the end results after giving it just nice, simple, good coverage. It took about 3 coats in the end to get that all sorted. And hopefully, as you can see, we do end up with quite a cool natural metal finish. I mean, it is looking quite good. And it does go down a lot thicker, shall we say, than compared to our lacquer base paints here, like Alclad's 2 and Mr. Metal, which is more forgiving for a beginner, because when it comes to Alclad's 2, because the paint goes down so thin, it's like any blemish, any mark or anything like that just shows up and comes out so much because it's so thin. Whereas I'm liking these enamels in the sense that because they go down thicker, I mean, it's not going down thick, but compared to these lacquer based paints, it goes down thick enough so it does sort of eliminates that problem that some people have with any kind of blemish or any kind of scratch or sanding marks just coming out quite easily. Now this is steel, so it's not kind of coming out like an aluminium colour, but I am liking it. Now just over here as well, what I also want to show you just as a bit of a test, this is our F14 here, where we're just going to kind of abuse it basically, and I'm just going to try flooding it, because I mean, with, you know, our typical Alclads and Mr. Metal paints, you've always got to sort of like put on these nice thin layers, because if you blast it on and you pull it up, it kind of messes up the natural metal finish look to it. So just bringing you in now, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to flood this with paint. So I'm just going to like sort of really sort of whack it on really wet. Alright, hopefully as you can see there, that's going on really wet. At the moment it is, I can see like some slight kind of blemishes with it. Now I have sort of like really gone to town with this, just remember. But let's see how it sort of settles down. Let's just blast the rest of this out my airbrush, may as well. Alright, so just see how that sort of settles down and how it sort of finishes, and we'll see how that tests up to basically blasting it all down. Now coming back to our F15 here, what I want to do is I want to do a bit of bleaching and sort of liven this up a bit. So this is where I'm going to come in with our aluminium here. Remember, you got to give it a damn good shake. You can sort of see on the bottom here, it's very sort of pigmenty. Alright, so give it a bit more of a shake, and you can sort of see how those pigments are sort of coming off the bottom, and that's what you want to do. You want to get them all off the bottom, right, which that is almost there, for as you can see there. Give it another shake, right, and again we pour into our colour cup. Let's open this up. Oh no, this is matte aluminium, sorry, wrong one. There we go, aluminium. So taking our aluminium, we're going to pour this in here. That's probably too much, to be honest. Let's pour it a little bit back. Wipe the end of the colour cup, because it does seem to want to run everywhere. Put the lid back on, because I mean this stuff does evaporate. We're going to check, see how we're flowing through. There we go. And then what I'm going to do here, we're just going to target the inside our panel lines here. Right, and I'm sort of going to give it a bit of a mottled effect as well. Right, we do have some rivet detail here, so I'm sort of trying to bring them out as well. I'll just do the one side on camera here, just to sort of show you. Hopefully I'm sort of seeing how we're sort of giving this paintwork now a little bit of more life than just being flat steel. Because I mean, really this is supposed to be sort of like an aluminium colour, I do believe, but you know, I'm trying to sort of use the steel to sort of darken certain areas up and give it some weathering. So there's a nice bit of post shading on our natural metal finish there, and that really does sort of, I think, bring it out. I do like the natural metal finish look of the aluminium. It does seem to be a lot more natural metal finishy, so to speak, and that just sort of like gives us a bit more more life to our paintwork than just being flat steel. But I want to carry on with this with some more. I'm going to be getting out burnt metal as well, which is AK's 484, and I want to mix that actually with some dark aluminium, AK 480. So to mix this up, let's start off with, again, we've got to make sure these are mixed up, shaken up, and all the pigments are off the bottom. Right, now they look all good. So starting off with some dark aluminium, we're just going to pour in about a 50-50 mix. It's really gone down the side of my cup there. Yes, pouring it in is a bit problematic. You can get pipettes if you want, but me personally, I don't like cleaning them out afterwards. I'd rather sort of pour and wipe. Right. So again, we're going to be pouring in some burnt metal, which is cool how we can mix our colours together, which is just what we want. Right, and then we're going to want to get a paintbrush out, a nice old paintbrush, a clean one, and make sure you haven't had it sort of like sitting in your pot of water, because water and these enamels do not mix. Right, so I'm giving that a good mix. Right, and this should give us sort of like a nice dark colour, but it's got that bit of a burnt metal in there, which sort of gives us, well, obviously a bit of a burnt metal. The name sort of explains it quite well. Right, so let's put that to one side. Again, let's test on a scrap bit of kitchen paper towel. Yeah, that's looking good. Which to note as well, I have poured in here neat, and then I've done all our base colours, spraying it. I've even done our pre-shading, our bleaching, and now I'm going to do our post-shading, and I've not had to do any thinning or anything like that. There's no messing about. I mean, it does come out the airbrush, regardless of sort of like whatever you're spraying, which is rather good. Right, so now I'm going to concentrate on the panel lines, not inside the panel lines, but on the panel lines, and I'm going to, give us some life, some sort of nice weathering, bit of dirt and grime, and I'm going to follow these very carefully, very random. Right, I'm not going to stay in the same place for too long. I'm even going to follow our rivet panel lines as well. Now, as you can see, this brings out our detail more, as well as brings out our weathering as well. So there's all our natural metal finish done, and hopefully, as you can see, that does give a nice bit of life with the whole bleaching and post shading using our AK natural metal finishes here. Now, this is enamel based paint, so you do want to leave it to dry, at least like 24 hours or something before you put any kind of, if you're going to put any kind of sealing it in with a gloss coat or matte coats or anything like that. But hopefully you're liking that in a more sort of practical sense for our F15 here. Next up as well is cleaning this stuff out of your airbrush. Well, first off, we can buy the actual Xtreme cleaner for our Xtreme metal colours. We just pour a bit in here, and it does clean it up really well. I'm just going to do a bit of a blowback just to make sure we're cleaning it all. Remember, only do it lightly. You don't want it just blasting out and going into your eye or anything like that. And then we want to turn the colour cup upside down and make sure everything comes out this end. And that's just the first application actually, which is quite surprising. But yeah, there we go. We'll whack a bit some more in there. Quick little blowback again, as you can see there, and then tip upside down and get everything coming out this end of your colour cup. Right, and hopefully, as you can see, that has cleaned up actually rather well. And then just to finish off, you just want to basically keep pouring it in and spraying until you're spraying nothing but neat Xtreme cleaner. You know, this is quite smelly as well, but as I say, not as smelly as Alclad's and those lacquer-based paints. So yes, that is all good. Next thing now is we want to put this to its fruit paces. Now, as we did on our little sort of like experiment F14 here, we blasted a load of paint on this area here. Now, although when it went down it looked a bit, but it has settled down and dried down, and just actually looks not really like there's any sort of problems with that. I also did flood this side, but with the aluminium, and again it doesn't seem to have had any problems once it's settled down. Do bear in mind, I mean, I have experimented to hell on this thing, so the surface isn't like the best, just to kind of, you know, sort of keep that in mind. Next thing as well, some testing. Let's get out some masking tape, which is probably one of the big things about natural metal finishes, is when you want to mask up an area or something, maybe you want to take a certain panel or something and spray it a slightly different natural metal finish, as you do with, say, P51D Mustangs or something. You know, let's face it, you know, you get like the pigments coming off. I know Mr. Colour here, although they're really good paints, they're quite durable, you can buff them to a beautiful natural metal finish, but you come along with masking tape and you just keep on pulling off pigments and pigments. It just keeps coming off. It just doesn't stop. I've even sealed this stuff in with gloss coats, and it just seems to just keeps coming off it, which is quite strange. And same with sort of like the Alclads too. It does, you know, the pigments do come off and you can have a bit of peeling and stuff. You've got to be sort of careful with the masking. So let's just jump straight in. 18mm tape. I've not sort of touched the middle of this or anything like that. We're just going to whack this down, not just whack it down, right, but I'm going to actually rub this on, right, to get it to stick as much as possible. And let's just see, you know, how this is going to react. Now I'm just going to rip this off, okay, just totally utterly rip it off. And that was quite harsh, and hopefully, you know, after that really sort of harsh rip off, actually I'm seeing only a slight little bit of pigments, like very, very slight, but that is actually rather clean as a whistle, to be honest with you. And as you can see, we've left no marks, we've not teared anything up. Let's have a go at this side as well with the aluminium, right, and this went down quite thick as well, and just ripped that off. And we haven't ripped anything much up. So actually, I mean, when it comes to the masking tape, you know, this stuff is actually rather durable. Maybe a bit of a scratch test. I can just get my nail. Yes, I mean, you scratch at it and it's going to scratch, but that goes for any kind of paints really. Yeah. But yeah, actually I'm quite happy with the durability of this. Now, I have done testing off camera in regards to Declan solutions. I have, what have I used? I've used Micro Sol, I've used Mr. Mark Softener, and on this side I did actually just kind of like put big blobs of the stuff, you know, neat, straight on to this bare natural metal finish, and it didn't even touch it. So that says to me that we can get away with coming along and just Declan straight on top of this without any kind of protective coats, which I know some people do like to, when it comes to natural metal finishes, not put glosses on or varnishes or anything like that. They like to just bam, you know, whack the decals on top and then weather on top. And then that comes to the weathering. Now these are enamel based metallizer paints. So the problem is with that is if we say come along with what we've got here, got a dark wash here by MIG Productions. Now these are enamel based weathering products. Now the cool thing is about these Xtreme metal is you can come along very easily, get out your enamel based weathering products, and it doesn't affect the paintwork, right? And that's putting it on neat on top of our natural metal finish, which is kind of strange and weird. I have on this side, again off camera, I've tested using enamel based weathering products, and it just doesn't affect it. I mean, it is kind of strange because enamel product with an enamel product, they should sort of reactivate our extreme metal and mix and everything, but actually it doesn't. So not sure what's going on there, but it's a bonus anyway, the fact that we can carry on using our enamel based weathering products on afterwards. So you know, we could come along here with a pin wash, an enamel sort of pin wash, and get into all those recessed panel lines, recessed rivets, and bring out that detail, which I'll be doing to our F15 later on, where I'll sort of get a wash on there to bring out all that detail. Probably come in with maybe some oils and maybe do some sort of oil streaking effects and stuff to really sort of bring that even more to life. So it is nice to know that we can still use our enamel products and our oil products as well, which is rather cool. So all in all, you know, each pot costs around about £5 each, probably less depending on where you buy them from. You know, I mean, I've got to say, I do actually really like this product. I did like the Mr. Metal, the Metal Colour by Vallejo. It is acrylic based, so it's safer and everything. But I don't know, I do like the way, I do like the more sort of potent paints when it comes to natural metal finishes like lacquers and enamel bases stuff. I just think they give you a bit more of a better natural metal finish at the end of it. So I am definitely liking these. Do they replace Alclads too? Yes. It's quite hard because Alclads 2 is still a good product. But then, do you know what? I mean, they are more durable. I mean, you saw how I came along with that whole masking tape test, ripping it off, and nothing's come off, which is a big plus. The way it doesn't react with other enamel weathering products is also really good. I am definitely liking it. The price, I mean, the price for enamel natural metal finishes are normally quite hefty anyway, so you know, the price isn't bad at all. They do come in 30ml pots, so you know, you do get, you know, quite a bit for your money as well, and it is a good range of colours as well. So yeah, definitely a well recommended product, and recommended here at Genesis Models. So hopefully you have enjoyed this product review of AK Interactive's Xtreme Metal Paint. So until next time, my name is Bobby Waldron, this is Genesis Models, and I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you.